Good Friday afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. Victor, yet another week almost in the books.
Almost done.
Almost done. Or is it? Or are we just in a simulation and we just think it's almost done?
Sometimes it feels that simulation would be better, to be honest.
The red pill or the blue pill? Your choice. Hi, by the way, my name is Darren. This over here is Victor, and we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox that releases on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, and on Fridays when we're around. Big caveat when we're around, we'll talk about that later. We try to do this live show just to talk about news of the week and what may or may not have happened. And then this week, as the OpenTF turns, we'll obviously be talking about that.
We're going to be talking about that for months to come, huh?
It is. Karen, good to see you. Martin, good to see you as well. Nat. Victor, you once sent an article for Shift Mag. Boy, that's quite a while ago, isn't it?
No, I think there
was that recent
one. Maybe a month or two ago published. Maybe.
We'll do you
I'm
answer
not
this now, or do you want to talk about
things are published? So
exactly. Should focus on development or Linux side of things. Why don't we answer this, but not on DevOps, as it involves both? We've talked about this before, but why don't you try to let me see if I can summarize it, then I'm going to let you talk about it.
Go ahead.
Focus on one thing when you're starting. Because DevOps is not one thing.
Exactly. Do you want to be bad at many things? Or do you want to be good at one thing, even if that means that you don't know other things? That's the question, really. I think it's similar to full stack development. Hey, you want to design an architecture and write code for backend, frontend, and manage databases and whatever is in between. You might want to do that, but that's not where you start. Definitely not where you start. Another different explanation could be that some could consider DevOps engineers, if such thing exists, as being very senior people, right? People who throughout their years of career wore different hats, right? Oh, I know how to develop code and understand Kubernetes, and I've been running things in production in AWS for a while now, and what's or not, and not blah, 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 blah. And then you say, oh, maybe I can actually combine all those things, right? But you cannot start with everything. Not a good idea.
So hopefully that helps. Moss, good to see you. Hey, Victor, do me a favor. Flip your camera over to portrait. I've got that. I've got basically the beauty filter turned on for you.
Okay, yes, I can do that. Turning
Thank
off
you.
portrait. Is
Thank
this
you.
better?
Much better. Much more clear.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get into the show this week. This week's podcast was about when cloud services let us down. We talked about this article that was on Newstack. I don't even remember the author's name, but cloud dependencies need to stop effing us when they go down. And we decided to spend a whole episode talking about this in more detail. And hopefully you've listened to it by now. If not, guess what you can do if you have a long weekend? You can listen to it during your long weekend.
Yeah, especially if you're into running, jogging, fixing your car, driving somewhere.
Yeah, we're not Joe Rogan. We don't do 3-hour podcasts. This one was just over 30 minutes. So it's not a big deal. And that's also a good thing. It's
Definitely not Joe Rogan, because we never said that aliens visited us yet.
So wait, how do you want to specify the yet in that sentence? Because
we might
haven't visited us
in the future, right? I'm not excluding the option.
Well, so the question is, because there's two options there. The way you said it is, we haven't said it yet, or the aliens haven't been here yet. So okay.
In my apartment.
Okay, not in your apartment. Anyway, that was episode 226 this week. The numbers keep on ticking up. At some point, we will I'd like to get to 1,000. I can't remember if I've done the date math on that or not. I need to figure out what the date math would be for 1,000.
So we're talking about 50-something year, right?
We're doing,
And
yeah,
that would
so
be 20 years, give or take.
yes.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
16 years.
Oh, yeah, as if it makes a difference.
It's a long time. I could get my license in that amount of time. It would take me that long. So anyway, when cloud services let us down. Next week is going to be an interesting one. I'll just leave it at that. You'll want to make sure that you listen to next week's. Okay, a couple of quick reminders. Your day job. So this is where we do the day job pitch a little bit. So the control plane day with Crossplane happening September 19th online. Register, right? Register.
There's a good and a bad thing about that.
Okay.
Special events in relation to me. There will be a panel, and I will be one of the panelists. Awesome people that you should check out. It is going to be amazing. And the second thing, the bad news is that I'm going to MC the whole event. And I don't know who had the idea that I can MC things, but that person is horribly wrong.
We'll see how that goes. So anyway, there's the whole schedule on that. And again, completely free. Like, you don't have to show up with beer. It's just free. Now, if you were to show up at Victor's place with beer, he probably, well, that could make it a very interesting stream. I'll just put it that way. And then also, my day job, DevOps World, is happening not in a single place for multiple days, but effectively one day in New York City area, Jersey City, Chicago, Silicon Valley, Santa Clara, and then later in Singapore and London. So if you're interested in that, check out devopsworld.com.
I might be wrong, but I think that whenever you say in New York City, that people from New York dislike you more. I understood that people in New York really don't like New Jersey being called New York.
That's why they say New York City area. No, I agree. But we'll let that be. Now, last week we talked about the CDF and Puppet State of DevOps report, where we talked about go take that survey, fill it out. CDF had another survey, and this is actually an end-user survey. This is completely different than the one we talked about last week, if you were around for last week. This one's probably a little bit easier to fill out compared to the State of DevOps one. What they're looking for is which CI/CD technologies they're using or evaluating, how many technologies they use, what initiatives they're working on, and any industry-specific concerns they have. That'll be interesting. So,
nice.
Again, if you're in the US and you have Monday off, just go take these surveys while you're taking a day off. That'll work out, right?
Yeah, right after you come back from jogging, during which you listen to the podcast, you do the survey.
Right. Do the surveys. So let's see. I'm going to look back here. You are quite welcome. Let me get to your other question, Moz. Is the monolithic when the cloud services are down? No. There is no right answer, unfortunately. But monolithic isn't the answer.
One thing that is definitely not an answer, but I would like to comment, is that when we say monolithic, it does not mean I have one thing. Because there is that, even if your whole application is one big application, which rarely happens, but even if that's the case, you still have a database, you still have S3 buckets somewhere, you still have a bunch of things. So, no.
Okay. I'm going to get Moz's here. Anu, we'll come back to your question a little bit later. Which CI/CD is best for on-premise? The one that you use. I mean, obviously I have biases, but what is it that you're doing? Do you always want to pick a screwdriver to do a hammer job? Or do you want to do a hammer to do a hammer job? Figure out what the right tool is for you. I think, and this is the one thing I always push, no matter where I'm at talking about it, just use something that's built to do the job. Even if it's not the exact right tool, use a tool. Don't just be necessarily writing shell scripts on your machine and running them there.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do that.
Any pipeline tool is better than you doing monkey business like this. Don't do that.
Okay. Let's get into, again, as the OpenTF turns. A company that is using Terraform to do Terraform things in their product is not supporting OpenTF. I knew this would happen. I didn't think it would happen this quickly.
From whom is that?
It is from a company called Dragon Drop.
Okay.
So drag on drop. Okay, dragon. So you could say dragon. It's sort of a play on words, drag and drop, drag in drop, but drag on drop. Anyway. So here's the take of what they think. We feel the OpenTF manifesto presents the new license in a distorted way. Okay, number one, we had the OpenTF people being very, I'll say it, aggressive in some of their phrasing. Maybe that's a little too strong to say, but I'll stick with it. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it was just very, what's the word I'm looking for, though? Aggressive is too strong of a term. They knew what they wanted to say, and they were going to say it. Let's put it that way. Is distorted the way that favors the for-profit companies most impacted by the license change. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And the potential cost to the Terraform ecosystem is too high if the fork were to happen. Now, here's the thing I didn't think would happen. Well, actually, I can see it. Furthermore, as an affected party, this is Dragon Drop Cloud. We do not mind licensing Terraform to embed it within our own solution, given the large supporting ecosystem that HashiCorp has built and maintains.
I feel that all of those sentences are correct, except the one about the fork, but they're not exclusive, right?
Well, hold that
not
fork.
minding okay.
Hold that fork thought for just a few moments, because we're going to get there. So then they get into a little bit more about, okay, blah, blah, blah. So they basically slam against the poison pill, whatever, and that feels quite inaccurate. Again, this seems like a very measured statement here. They're willing to pay money, unlike the other people that they name in their article here. But let's get to the fork thing. Citations of benefits of a fork that would have been as true in 2021 as they are today. And this is, I think this is the key point to me, at least, is if it was this important to them, why didn't they fork it 2 years ago? Why wasn't there a fork created 2 years ago?
Look, I think that forks are bad idea most of the time, and there should be the last resort. I don't think that we should be forking stuff. Oh, look at that. Somebody did not like my pull request to Kubernetes as is, requested changes or whatever. I'm going to fork it, right? It's a very serious decision to fork something, and it should be the last resort. So I think that that should explain why it wasn't forked in whenever, right?
But this sentence here is the reason why I'm asking why wasn't it done then. Getting community PRs accepted into the ecosystem has been slow for years.
True.
Right?
True.
And they've always not added certain enterprise-style features into the core. Again, true.
True.
Right?
Absolutely true.
Now, I disagree with this statement. Like any corporate-owned OSS, or actually no, they're just reinforcing that. They're reinforcing, of course they're not going to bring something enterprise into the open source version. I mean, they might, but it's not surprising if they don't.
Yes, true.
So from their perspective, the only material change over the past 14 days, in our opinion, not ours, but theirs, is that certain businesses have had their margin profile change. Speaking of the people that are backing OpenTF. We talked about this last week. If you're trying to build a business, Don't build it on rented land.
Exactly. I'm honestly, I probably didn't talk about it, but I was always in the past surprised that so many businesses are being created on top of Terraform. To me, that was surprising always, simply because it's such a risky thing to do. And I'm not talking only about businesses that are literally providing Terraform SaaS or something like that. I'm talking about, there are many projects, I'm not going to name any, but projects that are taking HCL, for example, and Terraform to do other things that have not really direct relation with Terraform. And to me, that's such a risky business, considering that today we have open formats for many things, right? It would be, imagine a situation, this is really extreme, where you say, hey, I'm going to do something in the realm of observability, let's say, and I'm going to take open source agents from Datadog and do something with them, right? And at the same time, we have OpenTelemetry. Why? Why would you take such a risky move to create such a dependency for your business, right? And then the answer could be, hey, because somebody else already did most of the work and we are going to piggyback on that somebody and so on and so forth. And then I'm sliding towards HashiCorp if that's the case, right?
So we're not going to go through this whole post here, but links for everything will be down in the description later tonight, probably, maybe tomorrow. It's a very opposite world post compared to everything we've been seeing from everybody else. So I thought it was very interesting. So that's from dragandrop.cloud. Why we are not supporting OpenTF.
It's a very strange article because in few places that you read, it almost feels like we are actually supporting it, right? We are almost disappointed that this did not happen earlier.
Right. Why didn't it happen earlier if it was going to happen at all? That was the last point in the way I interpreted it anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the only story I've got about OpenTF this week. Can you believe it?
Oh, only one? That's unbelievable.
Well, I had to filter. I finally decided just to, like, we've talked about it a lot. And this was a different enough story to talk about. The CNCF schedule has been approved or opened up now for Chicago. So do you know what you're going to be doing in Chicago now?
I will be going to Chicago, and I'm not having a talk in Chicago this time.
Well,
so I will be attending Chicago only. That's what I will be doing.
Be attending
It's
Chicago.
Probably a good thing for a change.
It will be, because it'll make it easier for us to record our KubeCon review episode.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, was it last year or year before last? I don't remember which one it was. I was like, oh yeah, we need to wait until like when I'm getting ready to go to the airport because I still haven't written my session yet.
I think it was something like that, yes.
It was a variation of that. Not quite as bad. But anyway, they've got some of the talks here that are going to be out. This is the one thing that really tripped me up, though. The co-located event list that's happening. Holy cow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
And that is not the complete list. More co-located events will be organized between now and then, but more importantly, there are normally a lot of co-located events that are not organized through CNCF.
Correct. So basically, people are just using KubeCon as the reason to go to Chicago.
Yeah.
To go do the other things. But anyway, if you're wanting to sponsor, you only have a few more days, September 20th.
So you're in US. Am I going to get even better deep fried or whatever it's called pizza than in Detroit?
So well, that's right, because you went to Detroit. So it's different. Chicago-style pizza is different than Detroit-style pizza. So it's true deep dish. Like, here, I've got a battery. I have a 9-volt battery here. Right? That's not, ouch. That battery's still alive. The pizza will be thicker than that. In fact, the pizza will probably be close to 2 batteries worth.
Okay. So I must ensure that I don't eat anything until that dinner.
If you go, so if they bring you breadsticks, don't eat the breadstick. Maybe just eat a bite of a breadstick, but don't eat breadsticks. Because if you fill up on the breadsticks, it'll still take them 45 minutes to an hour to bring you the pizza. Then you won't have space for the pizza.
Got it.
Fair warning. Okay. Anyway, schedule is out for... I had a problem right at the very beginning of saying what this was. The schedule is out for KubeCon. Because they actually don't say... They say KubeCon here, but it was out of the corner of my eye. All right, let's get into some of the projects. The ongoing projects. Notary finally went 1.0.
Yeah.
Yay. Have you started rolling Notary into Crossplane at all?
No.
The processes that you're aware of?
We are signing images. I'm not sure whether we're doing it with Notary or what we're doing it
Or
with.
cosign or
So
whatever.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Or cosign.
Right. Anyway, just anytime something goes 1.0, we like to talk about it. So Notary is 1.0. We talked about Chainguard, or we were inferring Chainguard here for a moment ago. Chainguard now has a GitHub action that will make sure that everything happens in the action. And then it
Like
can't be...
building an image or something like that.
Yep, well, it's verifying so it's enforce. You can create policies for the SIG store get signed signatures to define what identities are allowed to sign the commits in your code base.
Okay, nice.
Whether human or not human, take advantage of the SIG store keyless to sign without needing long-lived keys. The more and more we get away from keys, the better. The faster we get away. Oh. Okay, anyway. That is now an action that is available. Okay, so Google Next was this week. Did you keep up with any of the news from that? Other than it being AI?
I was debating whether to go. I was invited to attend it, but at the end, it was too far for me.
Too far.
Slowing down.
So they talked about the next evolution of container platforms. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's just go to
Is it AI?
Yes.
Okay.
So the first point is they're launching GKE Enterprise, a premium edition of GKE. Okay. So with GKE Enterprise, companies can increase velocity across multiple teams, easily and securely run their most important business critical workloads. Okay, up to this point, I haven't heard anything enterprise. I don't know how this differs from GKE.
Me neither. I was about to say that. I still don't know what's going on, but you continue.
And to the third, and reduce total cost of ownership with a fully integrated and managed solution from Google Cloud. Again, I don't understand.
If it wrote GKE, if the set started, this is what GKE is doing right now, I would say, yeah, you're right.
So I don't know actually, again, we'll look at the details here in just a minute. Secondly, because I didn't go beyond the 3 bullets. I didn't do a whole lot of research on this one. Are you dinging? Is that you?
Yeah, I will need to.
Okay. No, that's fine. I just want to make sure it was you and it wasn't me hearing things.
It was me.
Okay. So secondly, for organizations developing the next generation of AI applications, GKE now supports AI-optimized Cloud TPU v5e. I guess these are node types.
Okay.
All right. Support for both the A3 VM, okay, whatever, and the NVIDIA H100 GPU, which is the big dog right now.
Oh,
as well as cloud storage.
That's the AI now, huh?
That's the AI. Yeah, this is they're both AI chips, or GPUs, but this is the hot one right now, with Cloud Storage Fuse now generally available. So this is more important, is Cloud Storage Fuse. Then
Yeah.
But the first two, like the first one was like, okay, I don't really understand. The second one is like, okay, good. But here's the biggest one to me. For platform teams that want to leverage the power of Gen AI to drive productivity, Duet AI, which was one of the big things they announced, in GKE and Google Cloud Run, provide Gen AI assistance specifically trained on our documentation to cut down on time it takes to run containerized applications.
Okay, so it's ChatGPT for Google Cloud.
For their docs. Yep.
Yeah.
This is the thing that we've talked about is like, here's the training set of all of my documentation, slurp it up, and now go. Right?
You know what I would add to that? Even more important than documentation, I would put all the support conversations into that.
Yep.
That's the one.
Because that's where you really learn what's happening.
Exactly. Assuming that you recorded support actions and questions.
Well,
and everything.
even if you were just to slurp in if you're using Zendesk, slurp in the Zendesk ticket history, anonymize it. Off you go. Okay, so let's look at, because this is me and you looking at this for the first time. Let's see if we can figure out what makes it enterprise. Blah blah blah. The best of GKE and Anthos into a unified and integrated intuitive container platform. Okay. Includes a new multi-cluster feature. Here it is, multi-cluster.
I'm not saying anything because I cannot even see the screen until you read it. So you go on.
Oh, you can't see it. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I like you reading.
Okay. GKE Enterprise Edition includes a new multi-cluster feature, Fleets, that lets platform engineers easily group similar workloads into dedicated clusters. Applies to custom configs and policy guardrails per fleet, isolate sensitive workloads, and even delegate cluster management to other teams.
Nice. I mean, I haven't tried it. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but that's what we need. Some kind of federation of clusters.
Right. So they talk about a few other things here. Enterprise includes hybrid and multi-cloud support, so you can run container workloads anywhere in GKE, in other public clouds, or on-premise with Google Distributed Cloud.
Oh, it's not Anthos anymore. Is that the rebrand?
No, there's
going
Anthos
on?
there as well. I mean, they're mixing them both. But it's the other public clouds as well. So if you can use, because this is the fleet concept, right? So this isn't anything new. In fact, talk to Carlos, right? They've been doing fleets at Adobe for how long now?
For a long time.
A long time. Not fleet, a product, but the concept of fleet is...
Yeah, I'm guessing that in that combination, the fleet master would be in GKE, and then, you can connect other clusters.
Other thing, yep. In short, GKE Enterprise makes it faster and safer for distributed teams to run even their more business-critical workloads at scale without growing cost or headcount. Okay, without growing cost or headcount. Without growing costs. That's always a funny one to see.
I love the sentence in bold. Whenever companies start putting percentages like that, I ignore it completely.
Especially when they bold it. Percentages and bolding is like...
Yeah, productivity
skip.
increased by, 40-something%. Yes,
yeah.
Measured... How?
Okay, anyway, Equifax, I guess, was using this up to this point, so great. All right.
I mean, GK is my favorite Kubernetes, so kudos to them.
And the TPU, and then Duet, and then tabling. This is actually what I'm wondering, did they go into the, what is this? Oh, that's best world, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's an interesting little concept here. With recent enhancements of Cloud Run, Event Arc integration, news media outlets like BBC use Cloud Run to handle dramatic traffic spikes, scaling from 150 to 200 container instances to over 1,000 in under a minute.
Yep. Cloud Run is awesome.
If you can do it.
That's my summary.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if this was the... Yeah, they actually didn't go into a separate bullet for the documentation. I guess they felt like it didn't need to, but to me that's more interesting. I mean, looking at the bullets, mean, to me, GKE Enterprise at this point is fleets plus wherever you want to run it. That's the general concept. So anyway.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it was AI, and more AI. I was like, okay, am I at a Microsoft event or am I at a Google event? I didn't go, but I'm listening, right? It's like...
For many years, Google was association to AI. So Google is not going to let that slide just like that.
Okay, so that is that one. Oh, I thought this was interesting too. GitHub reducing cost with upgraded code spaces. Get ready to do math. Are you ready to do math live?
No.
Okay, good. Because I don't want to either. See how much more you can, but listen to the way this is up. See how much more you can get out of GitHub Codespaces by taking advantage of the improved processing power and increased headroom the RAM provides. Talking to somebody that uses 4 gig machines, 4 gig of RAM on a daily driver, and my toy machines have 8 gig of RAM, tells you how much I don't like how this starts out. But it's interesting. Over the past few weeks, we've rolled out a change to the VMs that host GitHub Codespaces. Wait, it's not a container? To provide all of our users twice the RAM.
Okay. I mean, if it's twice the RAM for the same price, hey, yeah.
And approximately 10 to 30% overall CPU performance after adopting AMD. So these are AMD versus Intel. See? Yeah. This is that ongoing thing of, well, let's just use AWS back to the old days. A T1 micro to a T2 micro to a T3 micro was still a better solution as time moved along. So basically what they've done is followed that same storyline of we were using these machines and now we're using these machines.
Nice.
So, but it's interesting that they get into this whole GitHub has a, I think this is a great understatement, maybe of the century, and it's only 2023. GitHub has a large Ruby monolith that requires significant CPU and RAM to test. I think that's just a, I don't even think it, you don't have to say a large Ruby monolith. You could just say a Ruby monolith. You don't need to qualify it as large because you're just saying it. Anyway. But it's pretty interesting. The cost's going down. Now, isn't it funny that GitHub pays for Codespaces?
That's how it should be. I mean, if you're not paying to anybody anything, then you have no incentive to do better.
I wish they would have put the Y scale here, but I understand why they didn't put it there. But it's approximately a 50% savings. So if you were to look here, you can't see my mouse, but if you were to look far left, and then the humps over on the right, it's about half.
Yeah. Nice.
So how does this help you? Why do I care? Now these are in your hands. We invite you to see how much more you can get out of GitHub Codespaces. Probably the same pricing. We need to revisit Codespaces and Gitpod, and like it's been 18 months, right?
I feel that Gitpod is in trouble. Right? I would guess, and this is pure guess, that Gitpod is now forced in a way to either cling to existing users or to target other Gits. I wouldn't be surprised that the main target for Gitpod users is now GitLab. Until GitLab releases something similar.
Right. That would make sense.
Which I would be surprised if they don't.
Okay. So enough about Codespaces. Charm. You can always tell when you're on a Charm place. It's like...
Yeah, I love Charm. I've been spending a lot of time with Charm the last couple of weeks.
SoftServe, which is their Git server, now supports Git LFS.
Yep.
And you can use
that one, so.
The reason why I haven't gone this way is, and the reason why I'm using Gitty right now, is to be able to have in-browser editing. My purpose for Gitty is to do just some documents, like piece together documents, and then I'm using ASCII Doctor under the hood to put it together for a PDF. But that's the purpose of that. And it's not just for me, but my wife as well. So my wife can go in and click on an edit, and she can type Markdown, or actually ASCII Doc. Well, we'll probably whichever way we're going to do it. She can do that, but with SoftServe, I can't do that because there's no UI for that today. I doubt that there ever will be, because that would be going against the concept of churn.
If they ever give you UI, that will be terminal UI.
Exactly. Which you've got a terminal UI, which is there, but it's not. Yeah. But anyway, because I was looking at, because it's like, oh, does Gitty have Git LFS? And sure enough, it does. So that's going to be one of my things to set up maybe this weekend. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, if you're looking for a Git server to play with, I would say try out SoftServe, just because it's pretty in purple and pink and whatever.
I mean, kudos to them coming up with identity that is very, very different. I mean, now you go to any software vendor, especially startups, you cannot distinguish one site from another.
Nope. But you go here, you know quickly. Fonts are different, colors are different. It's actually big enough. Well, actually, and this is the other thing too. This site, I'm not zoomed in on at all. All the other pages I've been pulling up are zoomed in like to 130%, 150%.
Yeah.
SoftServe or Charm, boom, it's just big. I like it. We haven't talked about Copilot, and this is the old Copilot. This is AWS Copilot. This was the one that helped do, here's my, to me, it's effectively, it's Docker Compose, but for AWS. And all the ish, right? Just
something like that, exactly.
Very, very rough. And we haven't talked about it in a long time because honestly, it hasn't done anything that made it interesting until this release at 1.30. And it's this top one.
Curious.
Copilot Run Local. So now you can use Copilot Run Local to test Copilot services on your local machine. Not saying that's good or bad, but now you can do it.
That's definitely good.
But here's the key part. To get started, you first have to deploy your service. Once it's deployed, you can test changes to your code without waiting for a deployment by doing Copilot Run Local.
That's very cool.
So, and there's a whole blog post behind it. The other things are like, okay, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Actually, this one's pretty interesting. You can use Control-C to roll back an in-progress deployment.
Okay, that's for local, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, because you hit Control-C, it's going to roll back the CloudFormation that's being built under the hood.
Nice.
Okay, this is where I'll pull back the Terraform thing again. Terraform or OpenTF, either take it whichever you want to go. I think AWS is positioned to actually come out like a bandit in this with CloudFormation. If it goes sideways, like if it truly goes sideways, which I don't know how it could, I'm talking about it being the Terraform stuff. CloudFormation has been there since day one-ish.
Yeah.
From an AWS perspective. But it's AWS. That's all I'm saying.
I would have a very hard time imagining. So people adopting and starting with CloudFormation, I see that all the time. Normal. People using Terraform switching to CloudFormation, I cannot imagine that happening. It's too different conceptually, look-wise, and so on and so forth.
But anyway, bunch of bug fixes in this as well, but this was the key part, Copilot Run Local. I could see you doing a video about this. It'd be a little bit different. Or not.
Yeah.
Just for grins, I'm going to take a look at the blog post because we have a minute. Oh dear, it's too small. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, not that exciting. Okay. Ready to talk about AI? Oh, you're busy? Okay, I'll wait.
No, I was looking at the comment that from somebody that Charm somebody from
Oh,
China
Anu?
created slides, and
Yeah.
I had to Google it.
Oh, you haven't seen that? We'll go back here. I was going to
No.
bring that up at the end because I've seen that before. So if you go back to their, not Skate. Oh, we actually talked about it one time. Did you
But
find
is
it?
Charm or somebody from Charm?
Here, I'll look it up live. Charm slides app.
Oh, that's not. That's the thing. Charm is very hard to Google.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Slides. We talked. I'd have to go through my. Here, when we're talking about something
You'll
else, we'll
find
take a
it.
look at it. Yeah.
Go find it.
We already done that. Okay, so here's our AI for the week.
Okay.
The easiest and most lightweight way for developers to use ChatGPT in a CLI. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It makes open API calls with prefabbed prompts and your Git diff data. So this is about Git diffs. Don't think about PRs right now, even though this could apply to a PR. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
Minion SH. That's the whole app.
I was about to say, is it more than 50 lines? Oh, it.
It is 101 lines. So they breached that.
Because it's nicely formatted. Well done.
Yeah. So it has just three things. For commit, so it's going to generate a conventional commit. Basically, here's the prompt, and then you give it the Git diff. Here's one for a review. You're a world-class software engineer. You've been assigned to review things. And then the last one is testing using Jest. You're a world-class software engineer.
This is so brilliant. But not probably for the reasons that authors wanted it to be. This demonstrates how easy it is to replicate solutions from many companies that are now advertising AI capabilities. So next time somebody tells me, I have AI in my solution that does whatever it's doing, I'm going to redirect that person to that repo, to that script, and say, did you invest more time in it than those?
Because the answer will probably be, probably not.
Yeah, because it takes more time to write the same thing in Go than Shell.
Minion. Okay, normally the last thing I do is a tool. Today is not a tool. Today, the last thing is an AWS Icon Quiz. You think the CNCF landscape is bad? Wait till you do this.
Oh, I saw all the icons in one place once, and I was depressed for a week.
You ready? We'll take... Which AWS service does this one correspond to? You have 6 choices to choose from. 6, not 4. What is this one?
I want to say ECS.
Okay, I'm in agreement with you on that one.
No, of course not. They're all the same.
Oh wait, did I lock up? Oh, now
not
nothing
EC2.
clicks anymore. Oh, okay, there we go. What is this one? I don't know.
Never saw it.
I know it's not Beanstalk. Let's say it's application discovery. Nope. Next question. Was this just okay? That looks like RDS. Sure, it's probably not it.
No, it cannot be.
Let's see. He's Simple DB. Somebody said Simple. Or of course, I'm behind. Next question. Okay. Anyway, we're not going to go through this. If you get really bored this weekend, AWS Icon Quiz.com. What's surprising to me, I don't know who owns it. I actually didn't do all the research on it. I would expect to see ads around all the yellow space, unless this was mainly for phone. That's the other thing too, is this layout would probably be good for phone. Because this would be an ad magnet. Okay. And then this week you were talking about MirrorD.
Yeah. Short version is telepresence like solution. Network trafficking, mirroring, stealing, all that stuff. which is often overlooked, but probably, I mean, network mirroring in some form or another for development purposes or preview environments, that's probably not top 10 must-have things, often overlooked. So I'm not going to describe it. You need to see the video because there are quite a few pros and quite a few cons.
As there always are, and should be. I was trying to find, while you were talking there, I was trying to find the slides thing, and I can't find that. I think we've talked about it before, but I'm not set up here to actually search
Exactly.
everywhere I want to be.
It's familiar. I know that I've seen something along those lines. I don't know whether the same one or something similar, but yeah. It escaped us now.
Let me try one more thing, because I am... Oh, no, I'm not logged in there either. Okay, well, I can't actually look at my... I can't look at my repos right now.
Yeah, Anu says that he shared the link, but YouTube deletes comments.
Oh, deletes the links. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, let's go back to Anu's question that I said we would get to. Tell us about how a software developer can create content around Kubernetes and its products. I've seen many infrastructure engineers creating content around Kubernetes, but not a developer. That's a hard one, right?
By using Azure Container Apps. I think that we are still in very early phases. I think that from developer perspective, so I'm not sure I understand the question to begin with, but so I'm not sure whether created by software developer or created for a software developer. If it's the latter, then I think the key is really that you shouldn't be seeing Kubernetes. Content about Kubernetes for software developers should not involve Kubernetes, like Azure Container Apps, right?
Correct. I'm pulling up the... We have done this one before.
Developer.
Yeah, here it is. I've got it right here. Where's my tooling? There it is. We did this before, I think. So slides in your terminal. It was Mazlalani.
Seeing this, yeah.
See, when you create slides, though, what's your tooling stack again for slides these days?
I'm using Reveal.js backed by slides themselves are in Markdown, and then Reveal.js. Now, for me, the reason why I'm not considering terminal-like for my slides is that I like my slides being public, right? And Reveal.js is essentially static. I keep my slides in GitHub pages.
And then that's it. It's just you go click through them anytime you want.
Yeah, and people ask me where are the slides? Well, they're public. Go there.
Why don't we show people where that is? Because why not, right?
Sure. Now, while you're showing it, I must say right away that since the moment I discovered Reveal.js, which is many, many years ago, I haven't upgraded it. I haven't searched for better. I don't know whether it's good. But if you're trying to see the slides, you go to vfarsig.github.io.
That's right. And then go to...
No, just open this. I'm going to paste comment myself.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you should update your link on the about side with that.
Yeah, I probably should.
I probably should.
I will one day.
That one won't take you that much time. Okay, anyway, there's that.
Yeah, then you move to the right and you get all the talks and.
You can go down.
Happy me.
Go up.
To the right. One more, and there you go.
So there you go.
You know, those without links, those are slides that I will create slides probably an hour before the talk that uses them.
So this is the placeholder for the what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You have quite a few talks, so everything is here.
Everything is there.
Is it
So
in
those
any
are not
kind of
really
order?
talks, those are slides, just from
Okay.
from most recently created to. So
Okay.
they're not talks, just slides.
Right. Okay. Anyway. That's how you do it. You got workshops.
Oh, that one, it's old. I haven't done anything for a long time.
Okay. No more workshops. All right. So vfarsic.github.com or .io.
Yeah.
Sorry.
GitHub.io, yeah.
Marcus, the tool again, I'm assuming you were talking about slides. That's it's Mazlalani
Yes.
/slides.
Yeah.
Or Reveal.js.
That one depends. So both. We're talking about both.
Oh, okay.
So Reveal.js is what I'm using, and what Darin is showing right now is whatever he said.
And I'm doing something even more different, even though I don't do that many slides. I use a Hugo theme. I manage everything just as a Hugo site. So, okay. Next week, we're around next week, because that'll be September 8th, I believe, because today's the 1st. Golly, it's September 1st already. And then we'll probably be around the 15th. But then we go radio silent for about a month, because somebody's not going to be around.
Somebody is traveling, yes. I promise publicly I'm not going to travel anymore starting from New Year. I mean, that much.
That much. And I believe you. I'll leave it at that. I believe you. It'll make life easier for everybody, I think, if you're not traveling as much.
Yeah.
Anything else that we need to cover? I think that was it. So Monday is over on the DevOps Toolkit YouTube channel. You've got a video. Do you want to try to tease it a little bit without giving it away?
I would if I would knew what it is.
Okay, good. Then podcast comes out on Wednesday, and then we'll be back next Friday. That's the way I feel right now, because now we've got a stack of things I have to edit for the podcast. I know where my weekend's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, next time you ask me now what is something, you need to give me a bit more time, man. I need to, from now on, I'm consulting ChatGPT for everything. What is Victor's next video?
Okay, we've talked. Do you want to give a quick reveal of what you're doing right now? What your production workflow is like?
Yeah, I created a CLI, basically. There are probably like 100 different tasks. People don't think it's that much, but 100 different tasks that I do involved in creating a single video. And I'm automating all that, right? I created a CLI, written Go, based in large part on charm, look and feel at least. And then, all the things kind of, hey, publish video on YouTube, click a button and it gets published, right? Send a tweet, click a button, send a tweet. Send email to the editor with all the information he needs. Click a button, send, right? So, I mean, when I say button, I mean, it's a terminal screen with lists of things you can do, and you go up and down and click enter key. No real buttons involved.
This is like when we first started programming BASIC 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
The only thing that is open always for me, that's three things. Browser. I don't like using browser for anything but YouTube. Browsing. Slack and Visual Studio Code. So for me, a solution like that needs to be in the terminal screen of Visual Studio Code.
Yeah. So
I don't use any plugins of Visual Studio Code. I mean, I use a few, but basically it's mostly terminal.
It'll be interesting. I'm assuming at some point you will actually open source that.
It's
Maybe.
all in a public repo.
Oh, it's already there? Okay. I haven't looked at it.
I probably did not put a license or anything like that, because it requires, and it probably doesn't work for anybody but me. But if anybody is interested in using it, then we can make it together a bit more general, right? Now it's really what I need.
Right. And I guess you'll go ahead and either make it SSPL or BSL to begin with, right?
Oh yeah, BSL right away, because I learned my lesson. How do you expect me to become a unicorn company based on some silly code written over the weekend if I don't use BSL license?
And that's how we're going to end today's show.
It cannot be done.
Thanks everybody for being here with us live. And we'll talk to you again next week.